It's true. They do exist. Thank you for joining us for the world's latest podcast, Specialty.Run, where we discuss the intersection of all things run specialty and digital. Uh, Deepest apologies to everyone today for our profound lateness. I feel like I say that every time. But a combination of a ghost in the machine that we've been trying to hunt down now for a few episodes that's caused some rising echoes as the show has gone on, which we believe we've now killed, and me formatting my hard drive and reinstalling my operating system, which included completely erasing everything from the studio and having to rebuild it, placed us precisely 26 minutes behind. So here we are. Nonetheless, if you're watching this as a recording, anybody who said we were late was completely lying. We were perfectly on time. Everything I just said was just an icebreaker, and we're perfect human beings that have never made a mistake in our entire lives. So hopefully everybody had a wonderful holiday season. It was very busy at the Run Free Project, which tends to be a pretty good sign. Seems like most folks around the country had a very busy season from a business perspective. Lots of stuff going on online. Lots of really cool events. You know, the latter half of 2025 and certainly into 26 really seems to have picked up a head of steam, and feels a lot like pre-COVID days when it comes to the popularity of in-person events. At least, colloquially to me, which is cool. That's a place where our retailers shine. So to me, that's a sign of health and wonderfulness. Nonetheless, hopefully that is reflective of your experience as well. Derek, how are you? How was your holiday?
My holiday was fantastic. It was definitely busy, and um, it's never boring though. I'll tell you that. It's definitely never
True
boring.
that.
It's funny, anecdotal. Um, I'll tell a quick story if that's okay.
By all
The
means.
day of Christmas, we had a water pipe burst under the house, and so the very next day was technically supposed to be a work day for me, and you know, I had to fix the pipe. So you guys were gracious enough to give me the time off to go do that. And would you believe it? That's the day we got 144 tickets in one day. Like, so technically I wasn't there for the busiest day of the year, but I heard the team rocked and rolled. So I'm gonna tip my
Well,
hat to
that's
everybody for
how the universe works. It would be no other way. And we've for those of you guys who use the platform, I'm sure you've noticed there have been a ton of new features released recently, and especially from a UX user experience perspective. And in a lot of cases, what that means is people are used to doing things a certain way, and if the user experience changes, you have questions like, is this the way I should be doing it, or is this new way that has appeared completely at random a better way to do it? And so
right.
that's what it was. But it's all good. Pipes burst and shit happens, as they say. But we're here, and it is a new year, and I do think 2026 is going to be a big one for the running industry. Because I mean there really has been a head of steam building, and I think that the knock on wood, whatever we need to do, I think that a lot of the trigger shyness that came from some of the fear around tariffs has started to subside, and the stochastic nature of ups and downs in sales and performance and expectations has started to look a little bit more like historical stuff, and people feel a little bit more comfortable with being able to forecast what they can expect to some degree. To some degree. And, generally speaking, from a consumer perspective, Run Specialty does well in an up and a down economy. Um,
Mhm.
it's only intra industry things that get weird that make things uncomfortable for us. But nonetheless, we could sit here and blabber about that for. I could sit here and blabber about literally anything forever, as you all know, and I don't want to bore you to death. So, a quick recap. Um, as you know, we have been talking a lot about storytelling as the leading lady online and moving from a world of product first online presentation to a world of story led online presentation to be a better representation of your brand, a better representation of how you curate what you suggest to your shoppers, and a better way of telling your story. Uh, it's easy to wax philosophically about what that means sitting here in our offices blabbering. It's a different story to actually sit down and do it on Monday morning at 8 o'clock, as they say. And so what we decided to do the last episode was sit down and essentially build an example of what it means to lead with the story, talk a little bit about what that looks like and why some of those tactical decisions were made, and unfold that here on the pod together with you guys so you have an example of what that looks like, because it's a different way of thinking. It's kind of weird, feels a little upside down. It's kind of like SEO. When you're doing really good SEO, it feels like you're doing something wrong. um, this is kind of the same way until you see the results. um, and we'll chat a little bit as we go about some of the SEO and philosophy that goes into the reasons behind some of the decisions that were made here. I certainly don't want to continue to wax philosophically forever. Derek, why don't I hand you the steering wheel and we can kind of dive into it and you could tell us what's going on.
Yeah, let's build some pages. So I think we'll start with some context here. Essentially, what I went ahead and did is I went ahead and just for time's sake, I went ahead and finished what we were working on um, last episode, which I think that's where we'll start, is just to kind of show and remind everybody what we were doing. So, from our perspective, we chose to just do a staff pick page. But these pages, when we're talking about storytelling, can really be from the perspective of whatever you want them to be. So, uh, some of the brands like to do geotagging with like launches, and so every now and then I'll get a request for like a landing page and someone will ask, how do I do that and how do I set that up? And, from staff picks to, new colorway launches or a product page. Maybe there's a new, you know, Kinvara 9000 that we don't know about that's brand new and maybe a new colorway came up, but you want to, it's going to be popular and want people to know. You could actually create these custom pages for those too. So as we're looking at this, just keep in mind it doesn't have to be a staff pick. These can be other types of pages too. And so then the content would just be appropriate for what it is you're building at the time. So we went ahead and did the staff pick and just kind of highlighted our team. And then we picked a few different products for each member just to kind of, give you an idea of what you could do for your staff. And the concept of these pages, when we're talking it from a storytelling perspective, we this is where you get to be creative and fun and you really get to shine and correct me if I'm wrong here if I'm saying this right, but like share your voice with the customer through these pages. So have fun with it. Like for this one, I decided that, I wanted this one to be funny. So all of these captions, and for anybody who wants to check it out, you can see this page at that URL at the top. But these are just ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. You used AI on your side for these descriptions too, right? We use ChatGPT for these. Same.
Totally.
Okay, so same for me. I did too. So and on mine, when I finished these, the whole goal was to like just give people a glance at our team and kind of share a piece about them. So in a in reality, like in a true context where this is a real page for a real retailer, the goal would be to just shed some light and just share a piece of what makes that employee tick, so that the products make sense. They're just not random products that actually make sense. And so once you've got your, in my mind, your foundation, which would be the page. So this is essentially, in my mind, the staff pick page. You've got all the images in, you've got all the descriptions in. We've got Luke, myself, Jeremy, we've got Rob and his little toy hauler. We've got Dave, we've got David, and we've got Jeff. And so what we'll walk through today is we'll add the products for these guys in here. And this is a part of that I find the most fun, because as I was playing with this last night, I had it in my mind how I wanted this presentation to go. And then as I was playing with it and moving things around and seeing what looked better, it became like a light bulb moment, and I was like, "Oh, there's two more ways I could do this." So the first piece of that I want to share with everybody is that there's no right or wrong way to do this. Okay, that you're going to go through these as you get more familiar with the page builders and everything like that, and you're going to, and in the collections and all of that, everything that goes into these, um, and you're gonna like you'll find that what you thought might be the only way to do it is not the only way to do it, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's going to be based off of like what your voice is for the business. So keep that in mind and have fun with it, I think would be my advice. um, I don't really want to go into too much of these like specifically, because just for time's sake. So I think what I'll do is I'll just jump right in. The first thing I want to talk about is collections. So when we're talking about this, my mind immediately went to what's the best way to showcase a product that's curated the way that I want it to be. Now, keep in mind for this example, I use two products per employee. But the products, the collections, we don't limit you on those collections. So you can use as many products in those collections as you want to. And collections are cool because you can curate those in the exact order you want those. Whereas with the shop page, you can't. It's sorted based on the presets that you select. In, there's I think 5 defaults that you can select from for how those are sorted, and then they will sort that way. But as far as like moving individual products wherever you want, collections gives you that power. And so it's very powerful to really showcase the products that you want in order, however many you want to. Again, there's no limit. Um, and in this case, you know, in a if this was my real store and I was really pushing this to my customers, I might do, maybe 5 just so that it looks good, 4 maybe just so it looks good on page. I chose 2 for time. And essentially with the collections, let's go to this page here. Let's make sure I'm sharing. Perfect. So your collections you're going to find under products. So when you go to your products tab and you go to your collections, these are super, super easy to throw together. And the cool thing about these is I used AI to grab all my images so that I didn't really have to do anything on my own. I just told it what I needed. And this goes back to our conversation about, using AI to generate some of the content just to help. And I think we're going to dive deeper into that on the next episode. But um, it made each one of these pages, I made 7 collections in less than 15 minutes because I used AI for the images and the description. And then the products I had already picked. So I knew how to plug those in, and it was easy peasy. So to add a new collection, you would come into your collections page and you would just click add a new collection. It's always going to ask you to fill this stuff out first. So you are going to need an image, you are going to need a title, and then the URL, and then the description. And then once you've got those plugged in, you can start adding products in here. And you just search for them in the search bar. And once you've found what you're looking for, you select what you're looking for and hit add, and then it'll add it to this list. If you've selected manual, then you can move those products up and down. And I'll show you what that looks like on a different collection here. Let's go to Dave's. So he's got 2
Um,
products. So because, yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Well, I did
No,
mean
you're
to
fine.
interrupt, but not rudely. One thing to note that's super good to know is that once you've created a collection and saved it, you can then go to the product page in kind of the regular day to day arena of product management and add things to collections from there as well. So you can obviously add things to the collection from the collection page, just like Derek was showing you, but you can also do it on this page as well. So there's a
Yep.
couple different ways that you could do that, which
Yep.
is super duper helpful to know that you've got, both ways to do it to make it as easy as possible. Okay,
A hundred
sorry.
percent. That's a no. That's perfect. That's a great call out. I appreciate that, Rob, because he's 100% correct. And if you're doing a lot of products at once, this is probably a great way to do it because you can bulk select what you need, and then you literally just come over to the bulk icon here and then set collection. And then when you do that, it's going to ask you which collection you want it to go in. You hit add collection, and you're done. It'll add all those at once, and then at that point, you could go into your collection, and you could pick your collection and you'd see your products here. And then to just step back to what I was saying, if you wanted to move those, you would just literally click the little icon on the side and move it up or down. Once you've got your collections created how you want them to be, then and at that point, that's where my mind says we're ready to move to the next step. So let's see, what should we talk about first? Let's talk about let's do the easiest one first. This is the one that I thought about last night. I hadn't considered it before, and I don't know why. Um, so we'll go to where do I want to go? Let's go to the page. All right. So this is also good, Rob, because this will be um, this will be a good thing for the retailers to see since we've updated this because all the new
Yes.
things are in the sidebar. All righty.
Yep.
So the first thing that we're going to do is let me go to actually let me go back to a collection because I'm going to snag a URL real quick. Let's do that one. And then we can go to the page. And Rob, if I'm moving too fast, interrupt me and slow me down. I want to make sure everybody can follow along with me. Let's
You're
see.
good.
All righty. So I've got all of these plugged in just to kind of show a quick run through of what it looks like in the back end. We've seen what it looks like in the front end, right? So this is what it looks like. And then we chose to layer this. These are editable. So like, I'm not sure if that's a word, but you know what I mean? You can edit these. And so the picture can go on either side. I always like to start it on the left, but it's completely everyone's choice. That's completely up to you. And then when I do it like this, I like to stagger them. I've seen pages where they just, the image goes straight down, all the text is on the right or left. I've seen different variations where maybe two photos are on the left and two are on the right. Play with it, have fun with it. But I like what this looks like. And then this would be what it looks like on the back end. You've got the basic text, which is this right here up top. And then after that, you've got all of your images and everything. And so you've got them all set, right, left. And so the additional piece to that would be where's Dave's? So I'm going to throw Dave's collection into this here. And then I'm going to label this. And then we're going to save. And then when I do that, it's going to add a button underneath each one of these that you add that to. And when you click that, it'll link it right to that color. Oh, I see what I did. Give me 1 second. I knew I messed up when I copy and pasted it.
Oh, you sent them to the edit.
I did. Yeah. There we go.
There. Yeah.
There we go. So then it just takes them right to Dave's picks. And then this, I used AI for this. It's quite fitting, I think. And then Dave's EI or EV accessories, EV accessory or EV and EV accessories. Like, what is it? Hank Hill says propane and propane
Yeah,
accessories.
yeah. That's exactly what I thought when you said it. Good old Hank.
um, so let me just do one more so that we can kind of see it one more time. I want to go to Jeff's collection. Man, I'm all over the place when we're recording, apparently.
It's because everybody's looking over your virtual shoulder. That's the one of the many weird rules of the universe, man.
Oh, for sure. I can type like 80 words a minute. When someone's looking at me, I'm like 15 words a minute.
Yep, yep. Uh, every other keystroke is a typo, and yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Where's Jeff's at? There it is. So we're going to add one for Jeff too. And these can say whatever you want them to say.
And as Derek's filling out this info, so a little bit of context just as a memory jogger. Um, Derek's showing you a couple of different ways to skin this cat, essentially how to connect the employee to the products that they stand behind. Um, and there's a couple of additional ways that we can present this stuff on the same page, etc. But zooming out and just a little bit of a sanity check. The reason that we would do this at all is because we want to do two things. Thing one is we want to begin to create a center of gravity for your store, your brand, your community, and the message and identity that you have online that is about you. And I the joke I say is if you stick your head in the front door and ask what's been going on this week, that would be a good place to start. But the information that you create and place online about your people, about your community, your history, about your store that is not about products, that is about your culture and everything that surrounds the products that makes you you is as important or more important than the products themselves. From an SEO perspective, when people are searching for the things that make you an attractive place to buy from or to visit, those things matter a lot. And you become far more competitive, even for the products themselves, when the internet has as much information about you and your culture and your center of gravity as it can possibly get. And so we're contributing to that center of gravity and trying to give as accurate a portrayal of the identity of the brand as possible. All right, Derek, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. You are fine. I'm going to add one more of these just to help my OCD or my pretend OCD in this moment. Let's see. Oh, went through and
It's
it
because the
got late
pressure's
and I
on.
right. So give me 1 second. We're gonna do.
Forgot to press send. I mean, save.
I forgot to hit save on the products and they didn't add. I'm just gonna add them real quick.
That's cool. Um, and part of the reason that we use the employee overview, employee highlight, is because it's an easy way to demonstrate this kind of telegraphing of identity. I know I use it as an example a lot, but it translates well from an example to real life. When
Yep.
somebody sets foot in the front door of your store and you think about why would somebody come in and talk to you guys versus shop online with one of the manufacturers at their D2C site? Um, Maybe it's because you have a specific product for a specific price point. More likely, it's because of something that you have expertise on, or the fitting process that you can provide, or the expertise, or the local knowledge, or a combination of those things. And so, creating a reflection of that here is really what we're trying to do.
Correct. And so now this would be like the navigation that you could expect for, like, if this was on every single one, this is what it would look like. It would look clean, crisp, just really, really nice. And then literally every time someone clicked on the one, it would go right to the collection. And that would be one way to do that. Probably the way that I would do that. So the other way is, let's talk category tiles first. So with category tiles, this one is kind of outside of the box. It's not technically how it's intended to be used, but I like to use these versatilely because they really, I mean, when it comes to, let me show you what it shows. Give me 1 second. I'll add it to the thing. So with category tiles, it's going to be just like adding that button, right? You're going to link. And so because you can link, you can actually create all of the images that you want. And you can kind of curate that as well. So let me show you what that looks like, and then I'll try to make that make a little bit more sense. So for this one, I'm going to title this something like picks. And I'm going to add, or actually, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Staff picks. And then these are going to be individual.
Nice.
So then you would just link Dave's. And you can leave this blank. If you leave this blank, then there would be no additional wording across this image. For this, because it says Dave's name in the image, I'm not going to add any text to that label. And then for this one, let me go to...
And without the text on the label, that means if they tap or click on the image, it acts like a giant button, right?
Correct. Well, these always, there's no button on these. The image is always the button.
Cool.
So there's no button on the image or below the image or once you put the URL here, it turns the whole thing into a button, and then the label just controls the words. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual functionality of it.
Beautiful.
Let me go to... Is that right? It was right. And then who's did I pick? I picked
Derek.
I don't even know.
I
picked
jerk
mine.
we know.
Okay. Him and his stupid products. Let's see here. Although it was funny, when I was making products, there we go. When I was making products for this, I one of the products that AI made me was an LED. It was an LED light, like a neon light sign shoe, because I said my obsession is crazy and wild shoe colors. Anything that's crazy and wild and loud, neon, whatever, the louder the better. And so it literally gave me a shoe. I didn't use it for the product, but it gave me a shoe that literally looked like neon lights, but it was a shoe. I was like, that's legit.
That would be awesome. like a disco ball slash pizza shop neon light
Yep.
80s party style. That's fantastic. I love it.
Oh, I don't need to do that for that. All right, so we're going to plug that bad boy in. And again, leave it blank. And I'll just do 2 of those for example. So the more that you put those down, it's going to build out and it's going to show you those like this. And so it'll do 4 across and then it'll come down. Now, this is dynamic, so if you're on a different, size screen, it'll move the way that it's supposed to, and so you'll see those get down. And I think it goes down to 2 on mobile. So, you know, on desktop it'll be, I think, 4 across, and then so you would potentially have 8 if you wanted to, and you can just keep stacking these as well. So you don't have to, like, if I wanted to stack those, I'd have one with, this, and then you could literally just keep adding these as much as you want to, just by clicking this add more. So is there a limit to that? I mean, there's no limit to that either, right? Yeah. So
Nope.
you can add as many of those categories as you want. So if you've got a bunch of staff, this could be a really good way to do it if you want to call everyone out at once. And essentially, it would just do this. And if I'm using this here, then this is exactly how I would do it. I'd put it at the bottom of the page, so that way when this cascades down and people scroll, you've got all the staff picks categories, and they're all collections. So when you click on them, again, it takes you right back to the collection. They can click on it, takes it right to the product page, and then they can purchase it from there. Kind of curating and removing choices, so to speak. And then the last one, that one's pretty simple. And then the last one is also very simple. And this one I liked as well. So this one I would probably use in between the names. So if I was going to do this last way, I would probably do like mine under my name, and then Luke's under Luke's name. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. So for those ones, we called it collection list. So I liked this one because you can do one title. Let's see. How did I do this? I did. No matter how much I prepare for this stuff, Rob.
Oh, I trust me. I know, man. You're talking to the guy who has
but then we can add
failed at sound every single time.
Multiple collections, and then you can add multiple collection list, and you don't need to add a second title, so that way it'll just pick up where you left off. And then I'm going to add Rob's, and then I'm going to add Jeremy's, and then I got one more to add. And this is a good call out here because I don't have an additional 3 that I need to use. So I can click on this, I can select my last one, and then I can hit none. All right. So by doing it that way, you don't have to do any of the linking that we showed in the previous 2 methods. So you don't have to go and do the extra steps of finding, the links or the URLs or any of that. Once you've created the collections, this last option would be an option where you could literally just come in here and just plug these in. I mean, it took me less than a minute to plug all 7 of those collections onto the page. And now that I've saved and I come in here and I'll scroll down, this is what this one's going to look like. And actually, now that I'm seeing it here, I probably would also leave this one at the bottom of the page as well, because again, they're all here, but they're added. It gives you the same, like, I guess, look that you're going for, but 2 different ways to get there. And then it's all curated. So then again, I guess that would be the difference is this one I don't believe I have the ability to remove that text off of there, do I? No, because it goes off the collection name. So that'd be the one, I guess, the one call out there is that if you do it here using the category tiles, that label wouldn't exist. But if you do it with the featured collections, then you would see the labeling. But other than that, it's going to take you straight. Let's do, I didn't add, I didn't hit save on mine. Let's go to David's. Again, right back to the page, click right into it, and you're all good to go. And so, in a nutshell, that's what was that? 3 different ways to essentially accomplish the same thing with adding the products. And so,
For
in a
sure.
perfect world, I think what I would do is this right here, and then this is what I would call a finished page. Um, for me personally, I like that. Again, me personally, I'm going, if I'm doing this, I'm going with these links. This just looks really clean, really crisp. It's also fast, but I wanted to make sure that I highlighted multiple options just so that, we can kind of, there's not one way to skin a cat, I guess is the,
That's right.
that's what I'm told. I don't like that. That's a
I know,
terrible
right?
saying,
It is a terrible saying.
but
And
Rob, I mean, that's
what
all
will
I've got on my side. This is, uh, this is one of those things where you learn the blocks over time, because I know that this can look overwhelming. We've revamped these, and
there's a ton of
um,
new
in
ones.
my opinion, this is an awesome setup because everything you need for the blocks are over here. If you need to move these up and down, you can hit these little arrows. And then it will literally move the section to where you want it to be. So let's say I don't want this collection down here and I want it to go up there. I could save that, and then that's going to go wherever I want it to go. Right? It doesn't really matter. Well, let me just go back.
You can also grab it by the little 6
So
dots
see
and
how
drag it
I moved
around
it
on the
up,
screen
and so
too.
it lives wherever I want it to live. And all of those blocks are that way. They can live wherever you want them to live. You can completely customize these pages however you want them to look, and you can really have fun with it. And the last thing I'll say is, if you do have someone on your team who likes to get real creative and likes to get, a little more granular than the point and click stuff, we do have a custom HTML block that you could get real creative with that one as well and have fun with it that way as also. So I think I'll turn it
For
over to
sure.
you, Rob, and we can kind of unpack if you want and talk about it.
Yeah, rock on. Thanks, dude. I mean,
I
that was
can't hear you.
awesome. Oh, we must have. I may have muted, or you may have muted. Um, do you have your headphones in? Uh oh, I
One
lost him.
second, Rob. I can't hear you.
It's been one of those days for us, as you may be able to tell. So while Derek is fixing his sound, the as you can see, there's, like he said, a million different ways to skin the cat. Ultimately, the idea is for it to be as easy as possible to implement and to give you as many creative solutions as possible, um, and also to be as automated in how it updates itself as possible. One of the additional options that you have here is, let's say, for example, the way that he has it set up, it's designed for the collection to be large. Um, and with a large collection, um, you can go to the page where the collection is dedicated to that page, and anytime the staff member updates the collection, it adds to that page. If it's a really small collection, let's call it 4 products for the season or something, you could just place the contents of that collection on the page as opposed to linking to a separate page with the collection. So there's a million different ways to do it. Nonetheless, the idea is um, that the thinking behind the design when we put the page builder together was to make taking this storytelling as the leading lady, and using the tools to enact it as easily as possible so that you don't have to do a whole bunch of stuff by hand. um, and hopefully the context here makes sense, because that's and we will talk more and more about this as time goes on, especially as AI continues to take off. I'm sure you've seen over the last 6 months people are using AI as their search engine more. I mean, you've got folks who, they'll take a picture of something and say to ChatGPT, okay, what is this? Um, People who prior to 6 months ago wouldn't have been using AI for any reason, now that is their one-stop shop.
Yep.
And we will continue to see that grow. And the difference between, say, Google search and ChatGPT is that with Google search, you had, a number of opportunities to be the first result on that list. And with ChatGPT, you're either the one ChatGPT chooses or you're not. And so learning what it means to be chosen, and what trust and authority means in the realm of AI, and how to build that trust and authority with your content doing things like this, more and more of a focus of what we're doing here, so we can arm you with what you need to uh, do the best that you possibly can, and have a really killer presentation online. We want to be sure
100%.
that when somebody in your area needs anything that you sell, do, or have expertise in, that you're the first place they think of, and the first place that any of the AI engines think of too.
Yep. 100%. And really, I mean,
The
when it comes down to it, the curation of these pages, whatever you want them to be.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, when we're talking about it from specifically a storytelling perspective, I mean, how do I want to say it? Google is going to crawl those pages, and the ones that seem like real are the ones that are going to get the best. I don't want to say score, Rob. How would you say that? The best
Yeah,
attention, the like, you know, because if it looks if if it looks like it's just one of the a paragraph, maybe it's not going to perform well. Really expanding that story and shaping the page or pages, whatever we're talking about, just so that your website in general really displays the voice of your business. Um, yeah, it's night and day. Um,
it is
and
night
it's going to
and
be
day.
even more pertinent when it comes towards the AI side, because I keep saying this. AI shopping is, uh, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but Google page one, like circa, 2013.
Yep.
Like the organics, and traffic on the AI shopping is going to be crazy. So setting yourselves up for success like now before that becomes a thing. Well, more than a thing, because it is a thing now, but it's going to become even more of a thing. Um, it's really going to help your stores stand apart from the ones that are not doing it. And what might not be, in my opinion, as like prevalent or like in your face noticeable right now will become very noticeable 6 months to a year. Like in a year, I don't think that the online, SEO environment is going to look anything like it looks right now. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it
Yep.
changes. But I think these steps really do give a good foundation and a good place to start. And we're going to do what did we call this? Build with us. Is that what we call this one?
Mm-hmm.
Build it with
Yeah.
us or
Let's
something like
build.
that. Let's build. Yeah, it's just it's a perfect segment for us because um, as we go and we dive in, we're gonna make sure that we spotlight uh, not just this type of thing, but other, just kind of illuminate different ways to utilize the platform and hopefully help build that roadmap for our retailers so that when it comes time for them to do it, it just all clicks and makes sense. So this one was fun.
Absolutely. You
I had
are
fun.
you are spot on, my man. And you're exactly right. I mean, fast approaching the world of the internet, and how it's searched and how it's returned to the user is changing quite a bit. And in a lot of ways for the better, in other ways a little bit scary,
Hmm.
because you don't have as many opportunities to directly compete as you would have in the past.
Right.
Um, but when you think about, what does that look like? You're let's say you're a person who lives in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's a medium-sized beach city, and you have questions about running and or want to train for a marathon, and you go to ChatGPT and start asking questions about marathon training, couch to 5K, running in and around the Wilmington area. ChatGPT is going to basically go and do what amounts to Google searches behind the scenes using the questions that you ask, and it is going to determine what sources that are relevant to the Wilmington area have enough information that it can correlate with actual fact to deem trustworthy enough to use as the primary source of information for running in Wilmington. And then it will
Hmm.
lock itself to those sources, and then that source will be where it goes for everything it tells you about running in Wilmington from then on out. And if a retailer in Wilmington takes the time to to curate their story as a running store about their community, about their events, philosophy, everything else, what they're all about, staff picks and etc. That information is available to the chat GPTs of the world to see, to determine trustworthiness and flag that shop as being the trustworthy source for all information for running in the Wilmington area. Bada bing, bada boom. You're a small little shop in a beach community, and you are the number one source of all information for running for people who use ChatGPT. That's the kind of thing that will be happening. That is currently happening, but that will be
But it'll be
what
happening on scale.
defines
Yeah.
search engine optimization.
Yep.
Which is why we keep saying the things that we're saying. Why the way that we're saying them. Now I can't even speak English anymore. I'm getting too excited. Nonetheless, it is about time for us to wrap. I know we were painfully late today, so we apologize for that. We did figure out, well, at least we're convinced. We're going to go back and watch this. If there's echo, I'm going to throw myself out the window. But but we think we figured out the echo problem finally. And so hopefully all of us are echo free, and
Oh
and
man.
that'll be nice. And then we won't have to worry about that again in the future. And and so there will be less lateness going forward. And in 2 weeks, we'll see you for another really interesting conversation about data. Maybe we may change the subject depending on the feedback that we get. It's always up in the air. Nonetheless, we deeply appreciate you joining us, and we are so grateful for everybody. And we hope to see you again soon.
We're grateful for you.
Cheers, everyone.